Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night number 3 of the overnight feed recaps for Big Brother Season 26. All right, crazy day at the Big Brother house, so let's just get right to it because we got a lot to talk about. Now, normally I do overnight feeds. We got to talk about what happened during the day as well, so we'll cover both to some degree. All right, let's get right into it. First of all, what do we already know about the house, the situation that's going on? We've got the nominations were made yesterday. Nominations are Kenny and Lisa and Kimo. Angela is the HOH that made those nominations. And the big news all revolves around Angela. This morning, bright and early, everyone got woken up. They had the veto draw and then the veto competition. But when they first woke up, everyone's downstairs in the kitchen, seems to be in a pretty good mood. Angela comes downstairs, stops at the landing halfway down, points her finger at Matt, and calls Matt out in front of the entire house. She's saying, among other things, that Matt had told her that he had everyone in his pocket, saying that if she put him up as a replacement nom this way, well, not even as a replacement nom, this took place before nominations have been made. If she put him up that as a nomination, that he would put her up the following week. She mentioned that, called him out, saying that Matt and MJ had formed an alliance. She called them a showmance, which MJ especially did not like. She called him crazy eyes, immature. She told everyone, she said there were a few gremlins that came up last night. For those of you who came up, you did a fantastic acting role for a low budget movie. She just really called out, very off the wall, called him out. Eventually, it left MJ. MJ wasn't even in there, the kitchen area. She was in the bathroom hearing all this. It left her in tears. A little bit later, Matt just kind of broke down a little bit, had some tears of his own thinking about it. Crazy times in the Big Brother house. And here's the kicker as well. We saw a video earlier, Angela in bed up in the HOH room practicing some of these lines. So this wasn't just a spur of the moment, a mental breakdown. This was planned by Angela as a way to call out Matt. We know that she's worried that he's gathering troops for the other side. I guess this was her way to call him out, figuring everyone would then pull in towards her. Not sure it's going to work that way. We'll see what happens. I do feel like she's really burned some bridges and created a situation where it may be tough for people to stand by her. I think Angela is in a lot of trouble once she finishes up this HOH. We've got plenty of time before the eviction Thursday, and then we'll see what happens after that. It did result, I think, in battle lines being drawn a little bit more. Not a good look from Angela, although she did seem to still have some supporters in Tucker and T-Core, Quinn, Joseph, who escorted her upstairs and at least for the moment seemed to still be supporting her. Again, I am curious to see if that stays the situation. It's tough when someone has just kind of done something like this, a house meeting, done something like this. I just feel like it hasn't helped Angela's cause at all. And she had it planned all out. So crazy morning. All right. That was all before the veto draw. We did have the veto draw. Playing alongside Kenny and Lisa and Kimo, the 3 nominees, were Angela and Brooklyn and Joseph. There's some rumors that this season the HOH doesn't automatically play in the HOA, in the veto competition. Set rules a little closer to what Canada Big Brother's done. Not sure if that was the case here or if the HOH holder still plays. However it worked out, we've got Angela and Brooklyn and Joseph joined Kenny, Lisa, and Kimo. We had the veto competition, and the winner of the season's first veto, Lisa. Lisa, who was on the block. Lisa, who really needed probably to win the veto, did so. She saved her tail this week. Turns out the spelling competition was the iconic spelling competition. No Tektronics this season. Quinn says he made a joke about it. No one else caught it. But it was a spelling competition. Apparently, Lisa spelled the word transform. Sounds like there was a little bit of a twist in that not only were you having to run around and gather up letters, but somehow there were some letters that were deleted or weren't allowed to be used, which made it a little more problematic. But Lisa with Transform 1, and apparently she just dominated the competition. Kenny came in second, so he was not happy. He thought he could have done better, but Kenny came in second. So there you have it. The spelling competition. They didn't have it during my. I wish they'd had it during my season, but they didn't. But they had it this season as the very first veto competition, and Lisa came through with the veto. She wore the veto the whole rest of the evening. I'm still watching it. She still has it on, it looks like. So yeah, Lisa's very proud of this veto, as she should be. All right, so what's going to happen as a result of Lisa having this veto? Well, obviously she'll pull herself off the block, right? As crazy as this house is, don't take anything for granted. But yes, Lisa will pull herself off the block, at which point surely Angela puts up Matt, right? I mean, she just called him out. She just made him public enemy number one. I would expect that she puts up Matt. At one point, she's saying she wanted the nomination to stay the same, but I think she would likely put up Matt. But here's the kicker. MJ, the non-showmance with Matt, does have the America veto power. Could she use that to control the nominee coming back in, so that instead of Matt, America would vote someone else in? Not really sure enough about how it works, or if she would want to do that. We'll find out here over the next day or two, but maybe MJ could use her power. And we still, after that, have this AI battle arena where one of these three are going to be able to pull themselves off the block. So Angela may put Matt on the block. He may turn right around and win this arena battle, pull himself back off. This arena battle is going to change things a little bit, I think. It's going to be a little bit tougher to backdoor someone. In a normal season, you could backdoor Matt right here. He wouldn't have any chance to keep himself off the block. Eviction night with the arena battle, backdoors are going to be a little bit more difficult. We'll see if that stifles play a little bit. We'll find out. But we do have that going on. But yes, I expect the veto to be used, and I would think that Matt will go up in place unless MJ does something with her power. All right. The veto doesn't end there. The competition, not at all, for two reasons. One, Leah apparently very excited about this competition. She's spent a lot of time talking about how she prepared for this competition. She had all these words ready. She would have dominated if she had a chance. But the way you hear it, she was the spelling expert and just would have done incredible, but she didn't get to participate. So, Leah, you studied for the wrong veto competition going forward. But we heard her talking about the veto competition a lot. We also heard Angela talking about the veto competition quite a bit, because at one point, right around dinner time, she's already called out Matt, right? Now she ends up calling out Joseph, accusing Joseph of stealing her hidden letters. Apparently, she gathered letters, hid them in some bit of mud somewhere or something, turned around at the very end, the letters were gone. She believes that Joseph did it because he was over there. So she has accused Joseph of stealing the letters during the competition. She also made Cedric cry because he thought that she was attacking him also, that this attack against Joseph was maybe directed at him. I'm not sure how that worked out, but he thought that she was upset with him as well, and it caused him to get a little teary-eyed. So Cedric and Joseph have been supporters of Angela. She's kind of burned those bridges with this accusation as well. Joseph said, yeah, I was playing my own game. I wasn't watching where your tiles were. I didn't see any tiles. I didn't steal your tiles. Angela's just not buying it. So again, she's just making a few more enemies in the house, it seems like. All right, so again, a lot of stuff happening throughout the day, but we're here to talk about the overnight feeds. So let's talk about that as well. And I got a lot of conversations that I'm just gonna scatter, shoot, throw out there and see how it all ties in together. All right, so let's talk about overnight happenings. Kimo, now that he knows he didn't win veto, and apparently Kimo did not do well at all in this competition. I don't know if he spelled a single letter word or just couldn't find the letters. Not sure, but everyone said, yeah, Kimo was not doing well at all. Now that Kimo knows that he's at least still on the block for now, and after the veto ceremony, he's starting to campaign a little bit more to everyone, trying to have some one-on-ones. But I gotta say, we saw the intro video of Kimo, the happy-go-lucky Hawaiian guy with a smile on his face on it. That's not who we're seeing now. We're seeing the sad Eeyore Kimo. who's walking around and saying, tell me what I can do to make your game a little better. What can I do to help you out so that you'll keep me this week? He's not being real. He's kind of saying, what can I do to get your vote, as opposed to really proactively throwing out some reasons that people should keep him. And he just seems down in the dumps. Now, let's remember this. Not only is he feeling bad that he's the first week's nominee, but he's a have-not. So he's been doing with cold showers, sleeping on a hard platform that looks miserable, eating nothing but slop. So from an energy level, Kimo's down anyway, and now he's having to deal with begging for or convincing people to give him the vote. So it's been a tough week for Kimo, and it's showing in his campaigning. All right, Chelsea said that she, when talking to Kimo, she said she's really thinking that someone bigger than Kimo is going to go up on the block. She does not want Kimo gone. She mentions that no alliances have formed. Kimo basically says no alliances have formed. I feel like they're even maybe an alliance together with each other. They're just lying to each other and acting like neither one's paying attention to that. But Chelsea's saying no alliances have formed. She does tell Cedric, said, look, tells Kimo, says, look, if you want to win some votes, you probably need to go talk to Cedric. Cedric's kind of the influencer in this house right now. He controls the votes probably of a lot of people. So, because remember, Chelsea can't vote. She can influence as well, but she does not have a vote this week because she got the underpower or whatever it is, the demotion. She's the mascot of the week. She and Cedric. So she's saying, go talk to Cedric, even though he doesn't have a vote either. He's got a lot of influence. So Kimo eventually is going to do that. Kimo also talks to Cam, who tells him that he's not going to vote him out. He wants Kimo to stay. But he also says that he thinks that the collective alliance, one of these alliances that may or may not last longer than 24 hours, but he says, I think the collective alliance is going to protect you anyway, Kimo. You're not going anywhere. I think Kimo is at risk, especially if he ends up on the block against, say, Matt. If Kenny pulled himself off, Kimo could be in trouble because I think Matt could rally some troops around him. I think Kimo probably survives against Kenny, at least for now. So I think Kimo's okay, but that's not beyond the realm of possibility that he could be in trouble if he doesn't get some people on his side here before too long. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the after effects of Angela's non-labeled house meeting that was everything a crazy house meeting. Angela, after that, has been on a bit of an apology tour. She talked to MJ in the storage room a little bit later in the day and basically said, oh, don't disrespect me by saying that you aren't an alliance, and just really kind of calling out MJ on her own. But now she's on a bit of an apology tour for everyone, saying I shouldn't have brought y'all in. I shouldn't have involved y'all. I'm sleep deprived. It's been tough. One stop on this tour, she's talking to Brooklyn and Rabina and T-Core up in the HOH room. She's talking about how the way that she's done it, that Matt's probably going to come after her next, that if she can't get Matt out this week, that Matt's going to come after her, and that once that happens, she's probably gone. And so she's sounding very defeated, saying, look, I've enjoyed my time here. I've enjoyed what I've done, what I'm going to do. She's still going on and on about Matt and how he did her dirty and all of that. She's saying also that someone close to Matt has this upgrade power. Now, I think she's hinting, implying it's Lisa, but really, it's not Lisa, it's MJ, as we know, that has this power. So she's not wrong, just not sure if she understands that MJ's the one that has the power. But she's saying Matt has the power, Matt knows who has the power, and that's giving him extra confidence to go after people and things like that. She's telling the ladies that she's going to blindside Matt. I'm not sure it's blindside. I think after the call out this morning, everyone's expecting it. But she's going to blindside Matt. It's going to be the biggest move of the season. What a shame if the biggest move of the season is week number 1. It goes downhill from here. I hope that's not the case, but it's going to be the biggest move of the season. She's going to get Matt. She's going to break up the Showmance. She's going to have all these things to achieve her mark, so then she can leave the house happy and cheer on these ladies and all that. Again, is she ready to throw in the towel at this point? Is Angela going to last until Thursday after next, which is the first chance that she would have to go home? Or are we seeing another season where maybe someone walks out the door a little bit early? I hope not. I hate to see self-evictions and stuff, but it was a rough 24 hours for Angela. All right, later we've got Brooklyn talking to Kimo about the meeting with Angela that they had up in the HOH room. She's saying, look, Angela's going after Matt. She wants Matt gone. You are not a target, Kimo. I don't think you're going anywhere. There are bigger fish in the sea, so to speak. All right, we did see Matt getting his own bit of personal revenge in his own Matt kind of way. Matt went up while Angela was in the diary room. Angela was in the diary room for several hours, for an extended period of time. Lot to talk about. I'm sure production had a blast asking her all kinds of questions. That is a diary room session I'm looking forward to seeing in one of these upcoming episodes. But she was gone long enough that there were hints online of people saying, has maybe she self-evicted, or is she talking about self-evicting? Possibility, but she did come back, so it has not happened. But anyway, while Angela was gone on this extended marathon DR session, Matt may or may not have snuck up to Angela's HOH room, taken one of her White Claws, the only alcohol in the class in the house at this point in time. It's probably a good thing that the house guests don't have alcohol just yet. They're doing fine without it. But he snuck up to the HOH room, took one of Angela's White Claws, went downstairs back into the bathroom and said, hey, do you want to see some revenge? And shotgunned, I can see it over here, shotgunned a White Claw in front of, I think Rubina was in there. I think she was in the shower, but Rubina and Cedric and Leah and MJ. So yeah, his own little moral victory of taking one of her alcohols. I was waiting all evening for someone to either point out to her or just wait for Angela to notice a White Claw missing. Didn't see it happen. Someone will point it out at some point and just ramp everything up once again. But yeah, Matt got a little power back by stealing one of her alcohol drinks. All right, we've got Lisa, who won the veto, feeling the power a bit now. Now that she knows that she's safe, she's been talking to people kind of one-on-ones a little bit, asking them a lot of questions as though she was an HOH. She reminds me of a few HOHs from the past, like Kylan and a few others who just kind of grill people. Lisa, it seems like her favorite question when she talks to people is, who are you working with? Or who do you trust? Who do you want to work with? Who do you not trust? Trying to suss out these, I can't believe I said suss out these relationships a little bit to see who's working with who. And there's people that are telling her. And then when they come back and say, what about you? No, I can't tell you that. I'm thinking very one-sided conversations in terms of information flow. So yeah, Lisa's feeling the power a little bit and talking to people as a result. And people, she doesn't have any power. She's just not going home this week. But a few people were giving her a little bit of information as well. All right, we've got MJ spending a lot of time talking to a lot of people, saying, and again, MJ is Mackenzie, just a reminder every once in a while. MJ talking to a lot of people, say, we're not a showmance, Matt and I, we're just friends. At one point she says, just because we share beds that are side to side, just because we're different genders, just because we're both good looking, that does not mean that we're going to be in a showmance. No, that's true. Not yet. And I will say, I haven't seen a lot that suggests that it would be a showmance, other than just them spending a lot of time talking to one another. But after today, it's going to be shut down for a while. There's no way they're going to take the next step to a showmance, I don't think, anytime soon. But MJ spent a lot of time talking to different people saying, we're not on showmance. She called out Angela a little bit. I think it was in the storage room, saying, you're saying we're showmance. That's, we're not. Don't be saying things like that. Beyond the gameplay, saying that's not great either. She doesn't like the fact that she's being charged with being a showmance that she doesn't feel exists just yet. All right, we got Leah explaining how much I talked about it, how much research she did for the spelling competition. She talked about that a few times throughout the day. All right, we've got Brooklyn and Chelsea talking about the possibility of Matt being on the block now that we had the big blow up this morning. They're thinking that getting him out over Kenny perhaps is a better plan. So this may have benefited Kenny as much as anyone else. I felt like Kenny very well could have been heading out the door. If a bigger, stronger person like Matt's there, we'll see what happens. So Brooklyn and Chelsea are thinking that, not that we necessarily want to keep Kenny or care that much about it, but it may be better to get Matt out the door and just hold on to Kenny right now. We've got Leah, Rubina, and Chelsea talking in the bathroom. I don't have any notes on that. Just always paying attention to who's talking when now they're all doing their hair and makeup and things like that. But these girls seem to be talking and working well together. We'll see how that all pans out. All right, we've got Angela eventually apologizing to MJ in the kitchen, doing it in front of a lot of people. Now, no one else is listening. It's not that she's called another house meeting to apologize, but she is doing it kind of in public. MJ is saying, I accept your apology, without saying it's okay or I'm okay with what you did, just saying I accept your apology. But Angela is trying to soothe things over a little bit with MJ, saying I shouldn't have brought you into it. MJ saying at one point that what bothers her most was that Angela had brought Matt's mom into the argument as well, saying what his mom would be thinking, and she just didn't think that was right. Angela's trying to explain that that's not what she intended, and trying to kind of, saying I didn't mean to do that, but I'm sorry that I did it. Again, MJ saying that's what bothers her most. Maybe. I think calling a showmance maybe bothers MJ a little bit more than that, but she does point that out. All right, we've got Brooklyn and Rubina in the pedal room talking. They're thinking, and I agree with them, they're thinking that all the chaos that took place since this morning probably is going to keep the two of them safe for at least another 2 to 3 weeks. I absolutely agree. If you're not on the radar now, you should be good. There's a lot of targets floating around right now, I believe. So Brooklyn and Rubina feeling pretty good that they should be able to float for a little bit now. We do have eventually Rubina offers a final 2. I don't think she called it a final 2. It's more like, let's go to the very end together. So Rubina has offered that. Brooklyn has agreed. So we do see people starting to make these all the way to the end agreements. Now, we also saw that with Tucker offering something similar to Matt, and Matt said yes, but we already know that's not probably going to happen. Tucker and Matt not necessarily seeing eye to eye right now. So final 2s can be made. It's a long time till you get to that point. All right, we've got Joseph and Cedric talking. Joseph is worried about Angela maybe putting him up based on her calling him out about stealing letter tiles during the veto competition. Neither one of them seeming especially loyal to Angela right now. Now, maybe they stick with her because they see that as an advantage on their own personal game for just a little bit longer. But I just don't feel like they're feeling the loyalty that they felt before. Joseph's a little bit worried about that, and he's expressing that to Cedric. Big news for the house. Couldn't come at a better time. Around 11:15 Big Brother time. The backyard opens up. Everyone goes, for the most part, goes running out. I think who was still in? I think was it still Rubina and Brooklyn? Maybe I can't remember who was in the pedal room. A few people didn't realize it, but everyone goes running out, finds the backyard. I gotta say, it makes all the difference in the world when you can go outside, breathe some fresh air, feel the breeze, see the moon up in the sky. It just relieves a lot of stress. The house needed it right now. So they're all outside enjoying the backyard for the first time. They were out there just for a little while on the move-in night, but that's it. So they're enjoying the backyard, and you just feel the stress level dropping as a result of it. I think Rubina and T-Core were the first on the hammock, I believe. They talk about the fact they think that Kimo deserves to stay. No one wants Kimo to go just yet. They think that Kimo deserves to stay. They're also mentioning how rough a week Kimo's had. They said, and I hadn't heard this before, that apparently Kimo volunteered for the have-not room. So it sounds like it was a matter of perhaps Angela having to pick have-nots after the HOH competition, and Kimo volunteered to make that happen. Yeah, something you probably don't want to volunteer for. We had people volunteer for HOH during our season. It started on when I was HOH, and people volunteered, and more power to you, I guess. So yeah, it sounds like Kimo volunteered to do it, get it out of the way. All right, we've got, while everyone else is outside, MJ and Brooklyn, I knew there were a few people staying behind. While they're outside, MJ and Brooklyn are setting up, this is kind of fun. They're playing a little prank. There was a little conversation. The guys always play the pranks, never seems like the women do. So MJ and Brooklyn decide that they're going to prank the guys up in the have-not room They take all their clothes and they just line the clothes up on the bed to look like little figures with shoes and heads and bodies, and just making them look like four people laying on the bed using nothing but their clothes. They set that up and left laughing about how the people were going to respond to it. Tucker was the first one back up in the room. It took him a couple of minutes before he even noticed. He saw it all, thought it was kind of funny. And then he started laughing because he realized that because he's in a room now, everyone's going to think that he's the one responsible for it. I don't think MJ and Brooklyn would be very happy if everyone blames Tucker for doing this joke and don't give them the credit. But he was laughing about that. So again, the backyard's open. People a little more lighthearted for a little while, which probably is a good thing. All right, talk about jokes and pranks and a little lightheartedness. Lisa came out to the backyard and announced in very serious tones that the AI battle arena competition will start in 2 hours. Convinced a lot of the people in the house before she said, just kidding. That would have been quite interesting to do it in the middle of the night. People would not have been prepared for that. Now, let me say this too. Everyone came out in the backyard to enjoy it, to get a taste of the backyard and all that. Some people didn't stay very long. Angela didn't stay for a whole long time. She's out there for a little while, but eventually she went in. She may need to sleep. I'm okay with that. But Kenny, who should be campaigning, I don't know if I ever saw him in the backyard. He may have been back there and I missed it, but Kenny this was a perfect opportunity for him just to hang out in a more casual setting, share some stories with some people, and just get casual and get people feeling comfortable with him. I don't know if he was already in bed or just decided that he'd seen it for a few minutes and went to bed. I think that was a mistake. I think Kenny, Kimo, they needed to be out there and doing everything they could to build these relationships. We had some people that went to bed a little bit early. I would have stayed out there as long as physically possible, just to make sure that you're part of the conversations. But anyway, so Lisa announces that there's going to be a AI battle competition. She's just kidding, but she gets everyone's attention. We've got Leah and Quinn getting along in the backyard. There's been some people talk about showmances, maybe thinking these two would be fun to have a showmance together. They certainly seem to be getting along. They're talking to one another about past relationships, growing up, what their dream houses would be. A lot of those kinds of conversations. They're not alone. I think Lisa and Matt, MJ are hanging with them also, maybe one or two other people. They're part of a group, but it seems like these two are kind of dominating the conversation, and kind of cute listening to those little conversations. We'll see if anything comes of it. All right, while they're doing that, we have some much more serious conversations taking place in the rock formation, the mountain room, whatever we're calling it, in that bedroom. We've got Cedric and Chelsea talking in that room. Now, I didn't realize until about halfway through. This is a long conversation. I didn't realize until about halfway through that Joseph's in bed in that room as well. They must really think he's a sound sleeper, or really trust what they're saying, or think that he just doesn't pay attention. I don't know. They didn't seem to care that Joseph was in there. But Cedric and Chelsea talking in the rock room. They're figuring out what alliances might be legit, which ones might not be legit. I'll say this too. They're whispering. It was a little hard to pick some of this up, especially while I'm trying to listen to Quinn and Leah and the other feeds and also this conversation. But they're trying to figure out what alliances might be legit. It sounds like a new alliance is formed. It's the first time I heard the term, the alliance named the Barbershop, which supposedly consists of Cedric and Chelsea and Brooklyn and Cam and Matt and Leah and MJ. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in this alliance, the Barbershop. This is on top of another alliance that I heard about yesterday called the Pentagon, which is Cedric and Chelsea and Brooklyn and Cam. Same 4 people that are in the Barbershop, also including Quinn. So the Pentagon with 5 people, the Barbershop, drop Quinn and add on whoever else, Leah and Matt and LJ, if I recall. So they're talking about these different alliances. There's some talk about some discussion that Angela had with Cedric that involved Chelsea. Cedric has told Chelsea she's a little upset. She wants to ask Angela about it. Cedric saying, don't say anything to her while she still has the veto pick to make. Don't upset the apple cart. Just leave it be, but don't do that. Chelsea is confused about a lot of this, as am I. It's hard to follow all of this, But Chelsea's a little confused about what Cedric's saying. Why would Angela say this? Seems like she's a little suspicious that maybe Cedric is misleading her a little bit. So yeah, it's a little uncertainty between the two of them. But Cedric's trying to spill a lot of information to her, and Chelsea's trying to follow along as best she can, as was I. And I'm still confused. Both of them are worried about Angela's paranoia that's been around, not just this day, but in the days past as well. Worried what that means for them, since they're supposed to be kind of working with her, and the fact that she's calling out people and everything else. So they're worried about that. Cedric mentions as part of that Angela now thinks that he and Joseph are working with Matt. So yeah, we knew that Joseph had gotten called out. Apparently Cedric thinks that he's under suspicion as well. Not a good alliance to have. He in fact says at one point they're trying to find out who in the collective, it's what, 8 people, a huge alliance, who in the collective might be spilling information. Chelsea doesn't even think that the collective's a thing anymore. She says, well, Angela's not in it. If Angela's not in it, how can it even be an alliance anymore? Cedric's saying, well, no, it's still an alliance. Everyone else still wants to work together. It's just that Angela has decided to opt out of this alliance. Yeah, it doesn't sound like the collective's going to be something that lasts a long time to me either, Chelsea. But Cedric's saying there's still the structure there and they can still make this thing work. But you still have the Pentagon and the barbershop. So alliances aplenty developing over these first few days. All right, we've got T-Core eventually joins them as well. Is talking a little bit. Talk revolves to Kimo again, and do they have the votes to save Kimo? And they're looking at different configurations, who Kimo would maybe be on the block against and how it would work. We'll see. We'll know more once we have the battle arena and the veto ceremony, which I assume is going to be on Monday. And then we can talk about who has the votes. Right now, it's so much uncertainty. It's not worth spending a lot of time talking about. All right, we've got Matt and MJ in separate beds for another lights out conversation as we've had in past nights. These people never sleep. But I will say this. The night before, they were giggling a lot. They were in separate beds, but both of them leaning towards the other person's bed and all that. This time, we don't have any of that. They're talking, but they're distanced from each other in the bed. I really think this accusation of Showmance impacted both of them, so that they're keeping their distance to some degree while they're in the bed. But they are talking while they have a little privacy in there. MJ's worried. And I hadn't thought about this. MJ's worried that she has this power. If she uses a power, could Angela at that point then just vote in one of these other people that she thinks is working with Angela? Could she, I mean, not America. I mean, not Angela. Could America vote in someone else that Angela doesn't want voted in? Maybe they would vote in Matt. Maybe they would vote in Leia. Maybe they would vote in someone that MJ would just soon not have voted in. That's dangerous. If MJ is thinking that America may not be in sync with her, her power depends on America making a choice that MJ is okay with. If she doesn't think America's going to do that, power becomes a lot less powerful. We'll see what happens with that. But she is a little bit worried about what would happen if she used her power. So we've got that. All right, now another conversation or continuing conversation outside. Remember I said Leah and Quinn were talking and just having a fine old time. Well, next thing you know, I'm all focused on MJ and MJ and Matt. I look up and now we've got Quinn and Lisa that are actually visiting with each other upstairs in that new little balcony area of the backyard. They're talking. Lisa's talking more. She's grilling Quinn a little bit. They are talking about this idea that maybe Matt's going to get put up with the veto being used by Lisa. They're agreeing that regardless of maybe who's right, who's wrong, how everything went down with Angela calling out Matt this morning, all of that aside, they're thinking this could be one of the few times that they would have to get Matt out of the house if they wanted to go that direction. They're certainly talk about that. He tells her he doesn't necessarily trust Kenny. Again, Lisa says, who do you trust? Who do you want to work with and all that? And he says, well, I don't trust Kenny. And she says, okay, who else? He said, well, that's really it. I mean, I'm okay with everyone else. Who do you not trust? Oh, I can't tell you that, Quinn. So again, once again, a one-sided conversation, but he has talked about the fact that he doesn't necessarily trust Kenny, but having said that, it still may be better to get out Matt this week. They haven't decided, just feeling around to see what each other's thinking is on that particular deal. Now, at one point, Lisa does say, all right, I'm narrowing it down and all of that. Do you have the power, Quinn? Do you have this upgrade power? He denies, said, no, I don't have it. Yes, I voted yes. I've never said I didn't, but I didn't win it. Not sure she's buying it. She looks suspicious of him, but eventually she says okay, and they move on from that conversation. It seems to me, as much as Quinn's denying it, it just keeps getting more and more focused that Quinn's probably one of the ones who has the power. I'm not sure. Well, he can deny it forever. I'm not sure people are going to keep buying it, no matter how much he denies it. But yeah, he denies it to Lisa. He never gives in. He never gives up the info. Good for you, Quinn. Information is gold. Don't give it up for free. We shouldn't have said you didn't trust Kenny either. Don't give her anything, especially if she's not going to give you information back. But he did not tell her about the power. All right, eventually the two of them head downstairs. They run into to Leah downstairs. Leah, why is too early in the morning, too late in the day, morning? Now I can't remember which way it's pronounced. But anyway, they run into Leah downstairs. So the three of them are talking while they're doing some laundry. Leah's complaining about people not doing their share of chores. I gotta say, every time I watched throughout the day, she was doing chores. She was cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the floors with a mop, with a sweeper. She just making the most phenomenal beds I've ever seen in my life. And Crash must be working on $1 billion yacht or something, because she's got that level of that kind of stuff. So very much a cleaner. Well, she's complaining that maybe there's other people in the house that aren't complaining quite as much, and the other two are agreeing. So all three of them are saying, yeah, we ought to go on strike. Why should we do all the work when other people aren't doing their share? Leia's complaining about hair in the shower that she keeps finding. Quinn immediately says, it's not mine. I did not my hair. Don't be blaming me on it. But they mention that. Eventually the conversation moves over to the storage room. Lisa gets all mysterious. She just can't stand having information or not being part of the conversation. She's saying, look, it's all about eye contact, and there's at least one person in here who is not giving me eye contact. There's something going on. And Quinn and Lisa and Leah are saying, well, who is it? Oh, I can't tell you. Can you tell if it's a man or a woman? No, I can't tell you that either. I can't say anything, but I know something. I've got all kinds of information. She's just teasing them without actually giving them anything else. And at that point in time, I was about ready to shut it down. They then took a lot of water, put it in the jars, and went outside back to the balcony so they could find the moon and do some kind of moon blessing, moon ceremony, charging the veto with moon power or something. At that point in time, I said it's too late in the morning to finish up with that. So I thought that was a good stopping point. And there you have it, guys. So what happened? You stopped a little too soon. I want to add a little bit more onto it. While I was recording this, there were still a few conversations going on, apparently between Quinn and Leah and Lisa. Apparently, during that last little bit of conversation, Quinn actually did tell Lisa that he has the power. I missed that, but apparently he did tell her. He talked to the cameras. He's feeling like maybe telling her was not the greatest thing in the world, but hoping that maybe it means that she'll protect him a little bit. So he's having to deal with that. So we do have at least one person now besides knowing Quinn's power, and that is Lisa. Did I say Lisa? I hope I said Lisa. It's been a long day. So Lisa now knows about Quinn's power. We also had Lisa and Leah talking together while Quinn was either I think upstairs. But anyway, the two of them talking together in the bathroom, wanting to work together. At one point, Tucker came down to go to the bathroom. Leah hid in the shower. Again, they did this last night too. Hid in the shower so that Tucker would not see her, would not know that Lisa and Leah were talking. So they did that. Eventually, more conversation between the three of them. about forming a potential alliance. Lisa's talking about trying to maybe form an alliance between her and Leah and Quinn, so the three of them, plus Cam and T-Core. That would be an interesting alliance. I'd be curious to see how that works out. But we do have that. Leah also talked a little bit to Lisa that she's worried about spending so much time with Matt and MJ as well. I think she's realizing maybe she didn't want to be the third wheel with those two. So maybe she's trying to expand into something a little bit different. So again, there's still a lot of conversation going on. I think the biggest part of that is that Lisa now knows that Quinn has one of the two powers. That's going to make her feel just that much more involved and powerful in this house. I have a feeling I'm looking forward to a Lisa HOH somewhere down the road. I think she may get a little HOH-itis just like Angela did this week. We'll see how it turns out. But didn't want to shut down without adding that little bit of extra information. Guys, y'all have a great Sunday. I will talk to y'all tomorrow morning. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.